Hey everyone, today we're talking about something pretty amazing, a totally new therapy that could completely change how we treat stroke survivors. We're talking about an injectable treatment that doesn't just put a band-aid on the damage, it might actually help the brain repair itself. So let's dive right in.
Now, here's a wild idea for you. What if the very thing that saves a stroke patient's life could also cause more harm? It sounds like a crazy paradox, right? Doctors are in a race against time to get blood flowing back to the brain. It's absolutely life-saving. But here's the twist. That very same action can kick off a second, devastating wave of damage.
So this secondary damage has a name, reperfusion injury. Think of it like this. Your brain cells have been starving, desperate for oxygen, and then bam, blood comes rushing back in. It's a total shock to the system. That sudden flood unleashes all these harmful molecules, causing massive inflammation and killing even more brain cells. It is a true double-edged sword, and it's the huge problem scientists have been trying to crack for years.
Okay, so let's just quickly walk through this whole destructive process. First, step one, you get a blockage, a clot. That's an ischemic stroke, and brain cells are in big trouble. Second, doctors come in like heroes and use drugs or surgery to get that blood flowing again. But then comes the kicker, step three. That second wave, the reperfusion injury, that creates a whole new crisis in the brain.
You know, this quote from Dr. Ayush Batra, one of the lead researchers here, just nails it. He calls a treatment that could help neurons recover and stop this secondary damage the holy grail of stroke care. I mean, that tells you how big of a deal this is. And for decades, that holy grail has felt completely out of reach. But maybe, just maybe, that's all about to change. Because a totally new kind of hero has just stepped into the ring. And believe me, this isn't your average pill or some traditional drug. It's something way, way more dynamic. They're nicknamed dancing molecules. And look, it sounds kind of fun, but it's not just some cute marketing name. It's actually the perfect way to describe how they work. These things are designed to move and wiggle in a way that helps them find and connect with the right spots on our cells. They literally dance their way to where the damage is and signal for repairs to start. So what exactly are these dancing molecules? Well, the technical term is an injectable regenerative nanomaterial. It's basically made of these special little protein fragments. And get this is what's so fascinating. This isn't the first time we've seen this tech in action. A version of this therapy got a ton of attention for actually reversing paralysis in mice that had severe spinal cord injuries. Now, that same team has adapted it for the brain. But, you see, aiming this at the brain is a whole different ballgame. It meant they had to figure out how to get past one of the toughest challenges in all of medicine, the brain's ultimate gatekeeper, the blood-brain barrier. This thing is like the world's most exclusive bouncer. It's great at keeping toxins out, but man, it also blocks most of the good stuff we're trying to get in. And this, right here, shows you why this is such a massive leap forward. The old way of getting medicine to the brain, we're talking about invasive injections, like needles directly into the brain, or even actual surgery. The new method? A simple IV drip in your arm. That's it. It's designed to just slip right past that bouncer, which could mean no more need for brain surgery just to deliver the treatment. It's incredible. The process itself is, honestly, it's just brilliant. First, these tiny little molecules get injected into the bloodstream. They're like tiny secret agents. Second, they travel to the stroke site, where that blood-brain barrier is naturally a bit weaker, creating an opening. Third, and this is the cool part, once they sneak inside, they link up and assemble themselves into these bigger, more powerful nanofibers. And finally, these new, bigger structures get to work, sending out signals to calm down all that inflammation and tell the nerve cell to start repairing and regrowing. Okay, that's the theory. And it sounds amazing, right? A fantastic mechanism. But here's the billion-dollar question. Does the darn thing actually work?
Well, the early results from studies in mice are wow. They are really, really promising. So after causing a stroke and fixing the blood flow, they gave one group of mice a single IV dose. And compared to the mice that got nothing, the treated group had way less brain damage, a lot less of that nasty inflammation, and any bad side effects? Nope. They found no signs of toxicity. It's a huge step forward.
So, in the lab, this is a home run, a massive win. But, and you know there's always a but, right? The real world is a lot messier than a lab. And that's where a whole different set of problems starts to pop up. We have to look at the whole system. This quote just sums it all up perfectly. A revolutionary treatment is only as good as the system that delivers it. And when it comes to stroke, more than pretty much anything else, every single second counts. A miracle cure that shows up an hour late might as well not have shown up at all. And this is the big systemic hurdle. This incredible new therapy, just like the drugs we already have, has to be given fast. But what really happens when someone gets to the ER? Well, stroke survivors often report frustrating delays. They talk about hospital policies that might push for a quick CT scan, which can sometimes miss these kinds of strokes, instead of a more sensitive but slower MRI. At the end of the day, a treatment is useless if you can't get it to the patient on time. So all of this leaves us with one final, really critical question. These dancing molecules, they represent a monumental leap. I mean, it's almost science fiction, our ability to heal the brain. But as science keeps handing us these incredible new tools, we have to ask, how do we make sure our healthcare systems can actually keep up? How do we make sure these breakthroughs get to the people who desperately need them, right when they need them the most? It's something for all of us to chew on. Thanks for tuning in.